Hello, welcome to A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Garden. So, I've been watching people on YouTube plan on some fall plantings, and I still have quite a bit that's doing fairly well, but I've got a few things that I can pull out now that have been producing for a while, and we're gonna plant some beets and some carrots today. I ordered a bunch of seeds from MI Gardener because they had a sale going on, and first of all, their seeds are already cheaper than everywhere else I've looked online. Amazing prices for what you get. So we're gonna plant some carrots, and we're gonna plant some beets that are cylindrical, that are more like carrot shaped. Like when I buy beets from the store, because they're really healthy for you, really good for you. I was gonna roast them up, and they're a lot harder to peel and cut up when they're in the big chunks, so I thought this would be perfect. So we're gonna pull up a couple of the cherry tomato plants today, and we're gonna put these in. Before we pull anything out though, I'll kind of just show you how things are going. These are the tomatoes that we started inside in the hydroponic thing that I wasn't sure if it was gonna live, and it has done quite a bit. Turned out it was these little pear-shaped tomatoes, and we've got a whole bunch on here, but we are gonna pull this one out today. I did find out online you can make fried green tomatoes with cherry tomatoes, but I found a recipe for it, so I think that's what we'll try and do with some of these. We have had a lot of rain and wind lately, so one of the branches from that fell off, and Tom had to move it to mow yesterday, but we'll get the tomatoes off of that. This tomato plant, this cherry tomato plant, is doing really well, but it also is now laying on top of my potato plants because honestly, when I bought these tomato cages, I knew it wasn't going to be good enough, but it was cheap and quick and easy. We're gonna let this one continue to go. It's going like crazy. You can see there's a ton of fruit on here in various stages of ripeness. My potato plants are still going strong, and from what I understand, you wait for the potato plants to die off, and then in a couple weeks after that, you go in and you pull out potatoes. So we're gonna just let these potatoes continue to go. We are gonna pull out these cherry tomatoes as well. I got 2 in 1 bag here. I mean, they're doing just fine, but we need a bag for the carrots and a bag for the beets, and I figured since we have a very prolific cherry tomato plant over here, that we'll take out the first and then these last 2. Some oregano is growing down in here. It took a while for the seedlings not to be eaten, so we'll see if those stick around, or perhaps the bunnies will get yet another meal out of me. My regular tomatoes, I'm super excited. This is the whole reason I wanted to grow a garden, was to have real good slicing tomatoes. This one in particular is growing quite a bit bigger, so that's exciting. Super excited for these. And then in this one, my marigolds came back around. I didn't expect them to continue blooming, but they are. I got a basil plant down here that's doing really well. In fact, we're gonna harvest some of that today. My jalapenos are still doing well, and I got quite a few more little baby ones coming in. We might take some of those jalapenos today because a couple of these are getting a little bit of sun scald, but these are big enough that I could cut them up. Honestly, with the blueberries, we got a few, but mostly this year just kind of letting the birds take them. They weren't very sweet or very big, so it was a little disappointing, but this is only the first year for it. Tom and I decided we're just gonna let it go over the winter. We'll trim it down a little bit and we'll see what happens next spring. And if it doesn't work out, it's okay. We tried. One of the main things I'm learning from watching these people on YouTube is you don't have to be perfect to be successful. I tend to be a perfectionist and really worried about doing everything the right way, but I'm learning that there's more than one right way to do things. And I have tomatoes growing, and I'm so unbelievably excited about that. You have no idea. Tomatoes are my favorite thing. So we've got plenty of water saved up from all the rain, so we're gonna use that today, and we're gonna go get started. First thing we're gonna do is we're gonna harvest a bunch of this stuff. No matter how tiny they are, I'm gonna pull them and we'll make decisions inside. Look at this teeny thing, it's so cute. Also, I mean, you can tell this plant has seen better days and is kind of on its last legs here, so. All right, so we've harvested. We got some basil here. We got plenty of and we got some jalapenos. So I'm very excited. Need to make sure that I get those jalapenos cut up and frozen. We'll use that in our chili over the winter. So that'll be great. And my kids love my chili, so We're also probably gonna get some little tiny baby onions out of this, but first we're gonna cut this down. All right. It's a little spiky down here. I didn't even know that was a thing. Another thing that I wanted to mention is that, yes, gardening is a little labor intensive sometimes, can be hard. I have a very painful autoimmune disorder. Doing this kind of stuff does put me behind for days for like energy, pain levels get bad, but it's totally worth it. Do it on a small scale at first, you know, get yourself used to it. Honestly, I have only watered a couple of these plants once or twice. With doing the covering on the top and the water retaining wood chips in the bottom, it's really worked. I haven't had to water a ton. I haven't had to pay a whole lot of attention to this. There's just a few days out of the year that I go do a bunch of stuff to maintain it, like adding more fertilizer. Because it's bags, it's not getting the nutrients from the ground. But you can totally do this. Start with something small. You can totally do this where you're at. I live in a trailer. I can't dig into the ground, you know? But we're making little things work, and you can totally do it too. Okay, all right. Let's trim it up. Wow, look at this down here. Like, it's like it wanted to do more roots down there or something. The bumps on there. New stuff. It's all new to me. That's really deeply rooted in there. We'll pull out, yeah, see, my onions didn't do great. They're little bitty. I figure if I chop up all of these little baby ones, I'll probably get like an onion's worth. Honestly, I don't know what I did wrong. I might have planted them too late. I might have bought them too early and let them sit without water in my house for too long. I don't know. But we got some little baby onions here. All right, we're gonna try and dig this monster root system out here. Come on. Okay, look at that. Wow. Save as much of the soil as possible. And I'm excited to try and grow some fall crops too. Like, honestly, the first year here, I wasn't planning on doing that. I will tell you, gardening is pretty addicting. Having these little successes, it's so fun and exciting for me. This is actually still pretty full. Mix it around a bit, make sure I didn't miss anything. I was gonna add more of the mushroom. Oh, onion. Gonna add more of the mushroom fertilizer, but I don't think I need to. I see that there's still a bunch in here, and it definitely made itself a little system down here. From what I understand, with carrot, you need loose soil. So what I'm gonna do, since I don't have like sandy soil, is I'm gonna add more of this peat moss. Rather than adding more potting soil, I'm gonna add more peat moss to it, because that will keep the soil from getting too compacted and dense. This week, during the week at work, like in downtimes, I've been reading up on tips for growing like carrots and beets. The reason I wasn't successful earlier in life, I didn't know anything about gardening and I didn't do any research. I just went, oh, stuff's supposed to want to grow. It should be fine. I just put it in here, make sure it has water and sunshine, and it'll be fine. But not in a container. Definitely need a little help in a container. I am going to throw a little bit of fertilizer, just all purpose. This is the one I'm using. So we're just gonna, we'll mix that in. Once we get all this done, I'll show you what seeds I got and kind of talk to you about my plans for next year too. Pretty excited. All right, I'm gonna go get some water out of my rain buckets because we want to make sure we water in our seeds. From what I have learned on YouTube, always water in your seeds. So in our first bag here, we're gonna plant some carrots. I will give you a little information from the back of the packet here. Direct sow 3 to 5 weeks before last frost, which for my area, the first week in August is a good time to plant the fall crops. It'll take 2 to 3 weeks to germinate. Germination temperature 55 to 75 degrees. It actually has been around 75 most days lately. 70 days till maturity, plant spacing 2 to 4 inches, and root size is 5 to 8 inches long. So what we're gonna do with this, I'm just gonna do a gentle sprinkle around and we'll thin them out later. All right, we'll call that good. There's still lots left. Now I'm going to move them around to kind of cover them up. So we're gonna water these in really good, and then we're just gonna cover it with wood chips, and we're gonna see how that goes. And then we're gonna take the wood chips that we took off the top. Thankfully, I had enough wood chips left over that I can do this today without having to go down to the garden center and buy more. I really don't want to go do that today. All right, so I'm gonna water the wood chips just to make sure that they are damp and cool. That quick and easy, we got the old one out and we got a new thing planted. So I'll be back with you here in just a minute. We'll get those other 2 tomato plants pulled out, and then I'll show you planting the beets. All right, so I prepared this bag very similarly to the carrot bag in this. 100 seeds in here. Direct sow, wet soil reaches 45 degrees Fahrenheit. That's obviously for in the spring. I did read that this would be a good time to plant them. That's why I'm picking these 2 of my seeds. Germination temperature is 45 to 80 degrees Fahrenheit. We're gonna stay within that range perfectly, so it's gonna be great. 50 to 60 days to maturity. So it's the beginning of August. So October we'll be having some beets. It'll be exciting. And that'll be a time when we're starting to get to that time where I want roasted vegetables, you know? We're gonna just do what we did with the carrots. We're just gonna kind of sprinkle some over, and we'll thin them out later on. Ooh, these are interesting here. It's not just your typical rounded thing. It's a weird little pod, you know, like interesting. Anyway, I'm gonna keep the little packet though to remind myself. So we're just gonna kind of move this around, get those seeds kind of a little under the soil. All right, our next step here is we're gonna do some watering of the soil directly, water in our seeds real nice, put our wood chips on top, our mulch. I'm just gonna, again, like the other one, I'm gonna water the wood chips just to make sure that these are nice and damp and stay cool, give a decent amount of germination. We have accomplished what I set out to do here, but yeah, we're all set. We're gonna see what happens with the carrots and the beets, and I'll meet you inside after I get cleaned up here, and we'll talk more about seeds and future plans. All right, so we got all cleaned up. We are back inside. There was a sale on Epic Gardening for the seed starting set. I'm super excited about this. We got a nice grow light here. We got a bunch of 6-cell trays, a nice little tray underneath for us to bottom water. This is how I'm going to start seedlings in like February for spring planting. I'm really excited to try and start my own tomatoes and stuff from seed. That's gonna be really cool and fun, I think, a good experiment. It's not like, you know, $20 cheap, but it was on sale and I got a really good deal on it, and it's definitely something that I'll use, and it will save me money over buying plants at the garden center that are already started. Like that jalapeno plant, I know I paid $8 or $9 for that. If I can start my own from a packet of seeds that cost me $2, definitely. But I'm gonna show you the other seeds I got from MI Gardener, because this is, to me, fun and exciting. They also give you like a free pack of seeds, so I'll show you that when I get there. I got more basil seeds. I got some mammoth dill. I have fermented my own pickles and carrots with dill and garlic, and it was really good, so I would love to grow my own dill for that. I'm gonna grow some bell peppers for my son. I'm gonna do some Tom Thumb dwarf peas. Before I go any further with showing you the seeds, I'm gonna tell you, I do intend to expand what I'm doing next year. I have 10-gallon bags out there, 10-gallon bags out there. I'm gonna get 5 15-gallon bags, and then I'm going to buy the square, sturdier, heavy-duty tomato cages, but I intend to grow my bigger tomatoes in there and have that nice sturdy square collapsible cage. And I also really want to get a green stock, and this is one of the things that I'd put in the green stock. This is a dwarf variety of peas. My son wanted peas. I said, I will try and grow them. We'll see what we do. I have heard that to buy a green stock, the best time of year to do that is Mother's Day, that they have a really great sale over Mother's Day. So I am saving now to buy that then, and that'll give me a whole bunch more vertical space to grow in. I'm excited about that. I'm gonna try and grow onions from seed. We'll see how that works. I have seen and heard that it is a little more challenging than like buying onion sets or something like that, but we're gonna give it a shot. Grow some cabbage. I need to redeem myself. My son, when he was in grade school, started a seed at school and brought it home, and I epic failed. The next part I'm really excited for. All right, tomatoes. I love a big slicer beefsteak tomato. I'm gonna grow some Belgian giant ones. Ace 55 is apparently just a really good producer. It's semi-determinate. A lot of these are indeterminate, which is why I'm getting the nicer cages. This is just like a solid, good tomato, produces well. We're gonna do some just straight up beefsteak tomatoes. The best tomato I ever had was a beefsteak tomato from my dad's garden. So I'm excited to try and replicate that. And then of course, we gotta do some cherry tomatoes for Sam. I got some jalapenos to start. These are actually a little more mild. They're between a jalapeno and a nada-peno, which doesn't have any heat. I do like a little bit of heat to put it in my chili, but I do prefer milder. I'm gonna grow some leeks. I actually, this weekend, Tom and I went to the farmer's market and I bought some leeks, and oh my God, they were super long. I love it. And I made some leek soup. I have some little gem butterhead lettuce. So these are little tiny lettuces. Figured that would work in the green stock as well, or even in here in the hydroponic. Spearmint. Again, I love spearmint tea. Marjoram. They also gave me a second marjoram for free. I use marjoram, sweet marjoram, in my chicken noodle soup that my kids all love. Some oregano and more flat leaf parsley because that packet is nearly gone. Those are the things that so far I have bought to try and start. I'll have to do a little more planning, probably do that more over the winter. I'm really excited to do some new things and try some new things. This experiment so far is going fairly well. It's not like we've been able to eat solely what we've grown or something like that for a meal. It's gonna be a while before we can do that, but just to be able to be like, hey Sam, don't forget to go outside today and pick all your tomatoes, and Sam getting a nice little treat, like that's fun. You know, having my own basil that I dried myself, it's been fun. So I'm just looking to expand and do more of that. And just remember, no matter where you're at and what you're doing, I know it's hard, but you can probably find a way. I grew up in apartments. Try and find a community garden. Your county extension office would be a good place to find out if there's like a community garden. I know ours has like a master gardener program where you can go be a part of things. If you like to be social, that would be an excellent way to get started and learning about gardening and finding a place. Like if you're renting and can't even do what we're doing. I know a lot of apartments have little like balconies and porches. You can grow a little something. You may not have the greatest sun, but you can grow something. You can, you know, don't feel like you're stuck and you can't try anything. It's so rewarding and it's so fun, and you can do it too. Thank you very much for watching all the way to the end. We really appreciate you, because you watching us do this is what's going to help us realize our dream of having our own land someday. So thank you again, and we'll see you on the next one.